Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Today we are taking a look at a full first-round mock draft from Chris Trapasso from CBS Sports. We've been ripping a lot of our own mock drafts. We've been doing team mock drafts. We've been talking prospects for a while. The draft is a week out from today. Let's take a look at Chris Trapasso's mock. The reason I chose this is there is some crazy player evaluations, some players going in some crazy spots. I'm excited to break it down before we get into it. Thank you guys for all the support on the channel. It's been absolutely insane. Over 800 subscribers on the channel. If you guys like the content, you're here, you're new, go like, subscribe, comment on the video. Let's get to know each other. Chop up some football in the comment section as well. Let's get into the mock. Aidan Hutchinson. Travon Walker. I've been seeing so many Aidan Hutchinsons. Travon Walker going number 1 to the Jags. We've talked about this a lot on the show. I just don't see Travon Walker being a first overall pick. He didn't put out the film to be a first overall pick. He did work out like a first overall draft pick. But at the end of the day, the production just didn't match up. 6.5 sacks his last year in college. I get it's hard to make a lot of plays on Georgia since there's so many athletes on Georgia. But it's just Aidan Hutchinson put out the better tape. He put it out against great tackles like Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, Rasheed Walker from Penn State. I just think Aidan Hutchinson has the higher level film. He's also a freak athlete himself. Good thing is Detroit Lions go get Aidan Hutchinson. And if this happens, I'm telling y'all, I'm buying a jersey, Aidan Hutchinson to Detroit. And Detroit's going to be one of my favorite teams. I mean, Aidan Hutchinson, one of my favorite college football players ever, going to a team that I love. Not a Detroit Lions fan, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, but I love what Dan Campbell's bringing to Detroit. They get the best player in the draft at the number 2 spot. Pick 3. Kayvon Thibodeaux. I love this pick. I think the media is just not necessarily they kind of are slandering his name a little bit. He's a ball player. He's really good. He was one of the more dominant players in college football his whole career at Oregon. He struggled with some injury problems, and the team wasn't that great last year. You turn on the film, he's an impact maker. He checks every single box. He's also a very good athlete. He's got good length. He uses his hands extremely well. He's bendy. He's a better prospect than Travon Walker as well, but he'll probably be there at round 3. And if he is there, I think the Houston Texans should be pick 3. I should say should be taking Kayvon Thibodeaux. This is my pick 2. I think Kyle Hamilton's still a top 5 prospect. I get he's playing safety. He ran a little bit of a slower 40 than you would like. This Jets team needs playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, specifically in the secondary. And Kyle Hamilton can bring just so much versatility. You can bring him in the box. He's very effective there. He took a lot of snaps from the slot. I thought he was very effective. That's probably his worst spot to play. But the thing is, he can do it. He can play like that cover 1 center field safety. He's got the range to do it. The big thing with him is there was never a time on his tape where I said this guy's too slow to play at the next level. That's the biggest thing. I think he just didn't perform in the 40 as well as he would have liked. At the end of the day, you look at this guy's film. He's an impact maker. At a position need for the New York Jets, I think that pick makes a lot of sense. Evan Neal, the first tackle off the board. I get all 3 of those tackles, Evan Neal, Ikem, Charles Cross. We say this a lot. They're all franchise tackles, I think. Evan Neal probably going to be playing right tackle. Andrew Thomas on the left. The Giants address a position, the offensive line, that's just been so poor the last couple of years, protecting Daniel Jones. I think Evan Neal, he played right tackle at Alabama. I think that's probably why the Giants are going. They want to get guy with experience at right tackle, Evan Neal there. I like it a lot. Kenny Pickett, number 6. Again, if the tackles are on the board, which you got 2 of them, I'm going Charles Cross. I don't think Kenny Pickett is going to be a guy that really brings back this team. I think he's very NFL ready, but I think you need to surround him with a lot of talent. If you're not addressing that offensive line position, specifically that left tackle spot, I think he's going to struggle. You get Charles Cross in there. Charles Cross, in my opinion, is going to be a 10-year starter in the league, and I think he's going to be very good. Dude's hands, his feet are great. He mirrors people. He's got very good balance, good anchor. I mean, he checks all the boxes. I think that makes a lot of sense for the Carolina Panthers. I probably would go there. Pick 7, Garrett Wilson. This is an interesting one. I haven't seen the Giants take many wide receivers with these 2 top 10 picks. With guys like Travon Walker, Jermaine Johnson on the board, that's probably where I'm going. You just drafted Kadarius Toney. Deebo Samuel wants out of San Francisco, so maybe go call San Francisco if you want to impact wide receiver. I think they got enough wide receivers. I don't think that's a problem. I think it's the offensive line. Kind of address that with Evan Neal. And now I think you go fill out that defensive front with a guy like Jermaine Johnson or a guy like Travon Walker. I think that makes a lot of sense. Travon Walker's not on the board. He went first overall. With Jermaine Johnson, I think that makes a lot of sense for the New York Giants. Pick 8, Malik Willis. This makes a little bit more sense just because the Falcons are struggling so much with, like, they're not going to be competing for the next couple of years. You go get a quarterback that's probably going to sit a year behind Marcus Mariota, but he's got all the tools to be an absolute elite quarterback. I think very similar to like Josh Allen coming out, where it's like this guy has all the talent in the world, the arm strength, the arm talent's there. He just needs to figure out how to be a little bit more accurate at the football and go through his progressions a little bit more. The big concerning thing with Malik Willis is he was just not playing an NFL style football. Didn't really have to go through those progressions, step up in the pocket, played a lot of backyard football. But if you can kind of get those things in check, I really do like Malik Willis as quarterback 1 in this class. So of course, he's going quarterback 2 here. Pick number 9, Jordan Davis. Again, this seems a little rich. I was originally kind of out on Jordan Davis. He wasn't in my top 20. Jordan Davis has since kind of climbed up into that top 20 again with an elite combine performance. We all know he's a good athlete. I wish you saw a little bit more dominance in the pass rush if you're going to take a guy with the top 10 pick. Of course, Jordan Davis brings a lot to your defense, right? I mean, on 1st and 10, 2nd and long, like you have a dominant force in the inside that's going to make any team really struggle to run the football. With guys like Charles Cross, Ikem Ekwonu, Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley still on the board, like these guys who are super, super talented, I think, and at a position that has a little bit more impact, I think you're going with those guys as opposed in their positions that need to, as opposed to going Jordan Davis at 9. So I'm probably not a huge fan of that pick. This would be a great draft. They go get Kyle Hamilton and Sauce Gardner and really fill in the worst unit on that team. They have a lot of holes, but I think the secondary is probably the worst. Go get the best safety in the class. You go get one of the best cornerbacks in the class in Sauce Gardner. The thing with Sauce is he's not going to be bad. Is he going to be can he be potentially as dominant as Derek Stingley? If Derek Stingley achieves his high ceiling, Derek Stingley will be the better NFL cornerback. That being said, there's not many worlds where I see Sauce Gardner being a bad cornerback. And so at pick 10, you go with a safe pick where Sauce Gardner is going to be a plus cornerback for 10 plus years, going to be a great CB1. I think that makes a lot of sense as opposed to kind of taking on some more risk with Derek Stingley. Pick 11, the Cardinals trade up and go get Jermaine Johnson. I actually don't hate this because Jermaine Johnson's the top 10 guy in my big board. A dude who's just a freak against the run. He's really good against the pass in the pass rush. Really, really big tool bag of pass rush moves. He also tested really well. Jermaine Johnson's a really good prospect. The Cardinals need kind of an elite edge rusher. I think this makes a lot of sense. Obviously, they're trading up a decent amount, giving the Commanders probably a lot of picks. But I think this makes a lot of sense. It's going to be easier for teams to trade up, I think, in this year's class without that quarterback. And I think it's going to take a little bit less trade value. So that's another thing I might add. Derek Stingley going at 12. I like that pick. I think the Vikings need that. I think they'd probably prefer Jermaine Johnson, and that's probably why you see the Cardinals trade up that pick before to go get Jermaine Johnson, because if he falls to 12, that's probably going to be the pick. Derek Stingley's guy, we just talked about him. He has all the talent in the world. That true freshman film from him at LSU is just absolutely nuts. Tested well at his pro day. Again, you have a little bit concerns with, like, is he going to – you haven't seen him play good football in the last couple of years. He's had some injury problems. But I think at pick 12, you're getting a guy who, if he put together 3 good years of college football, he's a top 3 pick. Getting him at 12, that's a pretty good deal, in my opinion. Texans go. Take a drink of water. I'm high on Daxton Hill. I'm probably one of the higher guys on Daxton Hill than in comparison to everyone else. I'm not this high on Daxton Hill, especially with how many good players there's still. Ikem Ekwonu still not off the board. Charles Cross still not off the board. You didn't go tackle at 3. You went Kayvon Thibodeaux. I think you go tackle here. I think the team – I obviously have Laramie Tunsil at left. I think Titus Howard at right. But, I mean, Ikem Ekwonu, Charles Cross, they're both going to be such good tackles. To see tackles fall this late in the draft is really interesting. Kind of teams like the New Orleans Saints. I wonder if they might trade up in the next couple of picks to go get a guy like Ikem or Charles Cross. Pick 14, Ikem Ekwonu. I actually don't mind this pick. For what the Baltimore Ravens want to do, kind of get back to that rogue rating run game, Ikem Ekwonu is the guy for him. Again, I don't see Ikem Ekwonu falling to pick 14. I think he's more of a top 10 guy, even maybe a top 5 guy. Super talented. I think he needs the most work out of the 3 top tackles. But in terms of physical tools and the power you see, the power he puts on film is just absolutely nuts. Just moves grown men. Uh, I like Ikem Ekwonu a lot. He should not be falling to pick 14. And Charles Cross is still on the board. The Eagles go up and get Andrew Booth. So, see, I like Trent McDuffie way more here. I think the Eagles should go Trent McDuffie. He put out better film. Andrew Booth didn't test, but Trent McDuffie had great film. The biggest question was, how's he going to test with the long speed? He tested well with the long speed in the 40. I think Trent McDuffie's the pick. I know you need a cornerback. I'm probably going Trent McDuffie over Andrew Booth. I kind of have Andrew Booth more of a 20 to 32 range. Pick 16. This might be the steal of the draft. I mean, Ikem Ekwonu going 14 was the steal of the draft. Now Charles Cross going at pick 16. Obviously, with Teron Armstead gone, Charles Cross is going to come right in and be a great tackle. I had the Saints in one of my mocks trading all the way up to 6 to go get Charles Cross. They sit back at pick 16 and get Charles Cross would be just an absolute dream scenario. If Charles Cross falls outside of the top 10, I'm kind of calling the Commanders, calling the Vikings, seeing if I can move up a little bit and getting Charles Cross. You have those 2 first-round picks. Again, getting a stud left tackle who's going to be good for a long time is massive, and I really think Charles Cross is that dude. Pick 17, Jameson Williams. That's a freaky wide receiver room. They obviously have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, but I think Jameson Williams just adds some explosiveness to that offense in a conference or a division that you're going to need to score points, obviously with the Kansas City Chiefs, the Raiders with Devontae Adams, and now the Broncos with Russell Wilson. You're going to need to put up some points. The Chargers are another team that could have gone for those tackles too. You see a guy like Charles Cross fall to 15 or 16, maybe jump to Saints and go get a tackle. But Jameson Williams is an absolute special guy. I'm okay with that pick as well. The Bears trade up, and they're going to go get Trevor Penning, which is just – I really don't like it. You guys know how I feel about Trevor Penning. I get it. The eye black is cool. Some of the highlights of him just mauling guys is cool, but people don't give enough credit to how much work he needs to be a good tackle at the next level. I think he can be a solid interior guy because he's really explosive and he's big. But in terms of being a tackle, there's so many question marks. You see him go play against Iowa State, and he wasn't very good. I think the Senior Bowl got blown out of a little proportion. I didn't think he was that good from the reps I saw out of him there. Was the most flagged offensive lineman last year. I mean, a lot of holdings, a lot of false starts, and then a lot of personal fouls. I know he plays with a lot of nasty. Got to keep that in check. Trevor Penning, maybe to the Tennessee Titans at 26, but I really don't like Trevor Penning inside the top 20, especially trading up with all that capital to go get him. This is a good pick. This is a good scheme fit. The Saints like those heavy-handed edge guys, Cameron Jordan, Marcus Davenport. George Karlaftis is just that. And George Karlaftis is a guy that he's falling, not necessarily because people are saying he's a bad player. It's more that Jermaine Johnson and Travon Walker have just moved up a little bit. George Karlaftis could potentially still be a top 15 prospect, falling to 19 at a position in need for the Saints. I think this makes a lot of sense. George Karlaftis is one of those safer guys. He has a really high floor. That power that he has in his hands and the ability to go right through tackles, stand-up tackles in the run game, that's going to translate to the next level. Does he have that bend and explosiveness that the Aidan Hutchinsons, the Kayvon Thibodeaux have? No. But he's going to be a dang good football player at 19 for the Saints. So, the Atlanta Falcons trade and go get Did they trade up or did they get Malik Willis? So they trade back into the first round and go get Chris Olave, which I'm actually okay with because they need a wide receiver really bad. Chris Olave is my wide receiver too. Falling to pick 20, I would go do that. I think the Steelers should even consider taking Chris Olave and not even trading out of the pick. Chris Olave is a stud. He's not like the super flashy Drake London catching on your head or Garrett Wilson or Jameson Williams with the blazing speed. All this dude does is run really polished routes, gets open, catches footballs, catches touchdowns. Trust me, as a Michigan fan, I've seen it all too much. I don't want to see him in Kansas City, so I'm happy the Falcons are taking him in the NFC South. Get him out of my face. I've seen too much of him. But this dude's he's just a really good football player. Pick 21, Drake London. I've heard the Patriots really kicking around, taking a wide receiver, getting a weapon for Mac Jones because you know Mac Jones he needs weapons around him. Devin Lloyd still on the board. I like Drake London. You guys know I don't like Drake London as much as those top guys. He is my wide receiver 4, picking him at 21 as the 4th wide receiver off the board. I can get with it. So, and you see now, the Packers really should be that team like the Falcons did, thinking about trading up because I think the Saints are certainly in the realm for a wide receiver. The Steelers at 20. The Patriots at 21. I think the Eagles could. Like, you could see 5 wide receivers go before the Packers are picking at 22. And now they're kind of forced to pick Kaiir Elam. Obviously, Treylon Burks, I think, could be a good pick here. Jahan Dotson could be a good pick. I really don't actually love this pick just because I feel like they're pretty good in the secondary. I like Kaiir Elam as a player, and this is probably the earlier end of where I pick him. I think you really got to go get a weapon for Aaron Rodgers, though. Pick 23, Tennessee Titans trade a little. We got a lot of trades going on. So Washington Commanders trade back to Arizona, and then they trade back again. The Titans come up and get Devin Lloyd, a guy that I have Nakobe Dean over him, but I do like Devin Lloyd a lot. He showed a lot of in terms of blitzing off the edge. He's got great ball skills in man coverage. He's a former safety, so he's got good feel playing the football. He's a good tackler. I can get with the pick. I just don't know if he's worth trading up for. Depends how much capital you're losing. Commanders are stacking some draft capital, though. Zion Johnson. This makes a lot of sense. I'm probably going Tyler Linderbaum just because I think Tyler Linderbaum's a special dude. I do like Zion Johnson a lot. Picking him up at 24 immediately, day one, week one, is making your interior offensive line better in Dallas. We've run a lot of Dallas mock drafts. We've picked Zion Johnson a bunch of times. He's even a guy that can play tackle. He actually graded out from PFF really well at tackle. I do like him on the interior. He can also play center. This dude's just a really darn good football player. At a position needs for the Cowboys, I can get with it. I've heard a lot of Treylon Burks rumors to Dallas Cowboys, though, too. So something to kind of keep your eye on. This needs to be a cornerback, right? It needs to be. Okay, Treylon Burks. I've seen Jameson Williams mock to the Bills. I don't love Treylon Burks as a prospect in the first place. I really think we need like an Andrew Booth there. If Trent McDuffie's still on the board, so I feel like Trent McDuffie would be the no-brainer, especially in the scheme that the Bills like to run, a lot of zone coverage. That's what Trent McDuffie excels in, kind of keeping his eyes on the quarterback, breaking on the football. I don't like to pick. It's exciting as a Bills fan to give Josh Allen, Treylon Burks, but I think you just need to address that cornerback spot, especially when you're thinking about beating teams like the Chiefs. Like, you need to cover those guys. You need to be able to stop Pat Mahomes. We couldn't do it last year. We tried out Dane Jackson, a 7th-round pick in the 2020 class. I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer to go get Trent McDuffie here. Commanders, who traded back a couple times, go get Desmond Ridder. I don't know about that pick. I don't hate Desmond Ridder. I just, outside of Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett, I don't think any of these quarterbacks are worth a first-round pick. If you really like Desmond Ridder and say the front office really likes what they see, he's more of a ready-to-go guy. One thing you do like about him, I hype him out a little bit, is he's just always gotten better throughout his career at Cincinnati. I think there's a lot of good prospects on the board that haven't been picked that I think you might want to lean towards. Like Daxton Hill seems like a no-brainer here. I don't know. No, Daxton Hill's off. He's off the board at 13. I forget about that. I'm not used to seeing that. Trent McDuffie to the Bucs. I like Trent McDuffie. You're getting a guy with a high floor. I agree. Yeah, I just wish the Bills took him. There. Green Bay Packers go. So they don't get a wide receiver. This would be the most Green Bay Packers draft where they're like, hey, Aaron Rodgers, shove it. You don't need any more weapons. You can start throwing to Allen Lazard. I like Nakobe Dean as a prospect, but Jahan Dotson on the board, George Pickens on the board, Christian Watson on the board. I feel like you got to go there instead of picking kind of a linebacker where Devondre Campbell just re-signed. Chiefs addressing the interior offensive line. So now that would be Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Kenyon Green. That's a good young interior offensive line group. I think they do want a wide receiver. I probably think they go wide receiver here. Christian Watson, the speed, size. That makes sense. I could see Andy Reid kind of salivating over the 6'5", the 4.31 speed. Now, the thing with Christian Watson is I don't think he's as smooth of a mover as people give him credit for. You saw that one really good route he ran at the pro day. Watching his film, they don't throw the ball much at North Dakota State, but he just seems to struggle with getting out of breaks, creating separation. I am enticed. 6'5", 210 pounds, 4.31 speed. Like that's enticing. I just don't know if it's worth. I can get with that. I do like Jahan Dotson a lot, though. Tyler Linderbaum to the Bengals. You guys know I like Tyler Linderbaum. He's going to be the steal of the draft if he goes outside the top 20. I think he's going to be such a good football. He's going to be like Creed Humphrey. It's like people don't value the center, then he falls, and then he's going to be one of the best centers in the league. I think it's just kind of a no-brainer. He's a stud. I was really hoping. Okay, he does include round 2, so we're going to take a look real quick at who the Detroit Lions take early in the second. Guy like George Pickens, I think, would really fit this offense. I wonder if he takes him. He takes Jahan Dotson, who I'm a fan of Jahan Dotson as well. I just think George Pickens might be the better fit in Detroit. Kind of a bigger body, boundary type receiver, as opposed to Jahan Dotson, who's probably, I like him as a prospect more, but I think he just doesn't fit Detroit's scheme or what Detroit needs, I guess, with Amon-Ra St. Brown looking as good as he did. Those above the rim physical wide receivers are kind of hard to come by. George Pickens was a lock to go in the first round until he got hurt. And he showed flashes of what he was before he got hurt. I mean, this dude's a really special talent who's really physical and big. I don't love the quarterback. I think you really retool this team. You have 3 picks in the top, 34. There's gonna be a lot of good prospects. Fill out your roster. You got a lot of holes. Fill out your roster. And then next year with the quarterback, I think you can go take a look at some quarterbacks. Right now, I just don't see Sam Howell being like a guy that's going to come in, make an impact. He has a high floor. He's got a good arm. I said high floor. I meant high ceiling. I don't know if I love him there. Tyler Smith, a guy that I like. Pierre-M Winfrey, another guy that I really like. Arnold Ketty, another guy that I like. Just looking at some prospects. Seahawks, I could see the Seahawks taking a swing at a quarterback early second round. I do like Christian Harris, who the Steelers get at 43. George Pickens ends up going to the Browns. I do like that. Kenny Walker going a little bit early to the Bucs. Trey McBride seems like a guy that would be a good fit in Washington with Carson Wentz. Yeah, this is an interesting mock. There's some players that have gone way higher than I would have thought. Again, appreciate all the support you guys provided the channel. Love talking football with y'all. We're going to try to set up a Discord soon so we can have a little group chat going on. Just talking prospects, and when the college football season comes around, talking about the 2023 prospect, talking a little college football betting. I love seeing you guys comment in the comments, talking some football with y'all. It's been a blast. Thank you guys for supporting the video. Thank you for checking out the mock, and we'll be back with some more NFL draft content as we are 7 days away. Peace, y'all.